All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 316.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
That's right. Episode 316, as Stone Cold Steve Austin once said, and I miss that guy every day. I miss the Attitude Era so much. As he said, we are here, guys. Whether you're a live streaming podcast or YouTube, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time as we have an awesome show for you guys. Whether you're a live streaming podcasting or YouTubing, thank you so much for being here with us, guys. We are so stoked. We are so happy to be here on an awesome, hot-ass Kansas Saturday. It is hot as shit out here. I don't know where you guys are all at, but it is hot as balls, literally, out here, and we are surviving down in our studio center because we have to in order to survive. I tell you guys, I get so antisocial during this time of year. There's a reason for that, because of the skin color that I possess does not bode well out there in the sun, and the heat just, I say this all the time. Trevor's probably sick of hearing it, but I am literally a stick of butter with a beard in this weather. So I hope you guys are enjoying it, because I am a bitch and I can't stand it. So I hope you guys are enjoying it for me. Enjoy it for me. We got a lot of plans today, Trevor, so I hope that you're ready for it, dude. How you doing this week? How you been this week? How you doing this lovely Saturday? How's life for you all together, man?
Well, speaking of the sun, I've never been in the sun, maybe more than ever. With this new job I've been having, I've been in the sun a lot more. I've never been more tan in my life. So yeah, I've adapted. People adapt. You know, if you just get out there, Lance, and stop being scared of breaking the Casper skin tone. No, I'm good, man. Just been it's been a busy week. This week has flown by, but I'm glad the weekend is here. Gonna celebrate my sister's birthday today.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man, that's gonna go get some Father's Days tomorrow, so really just celebrate myself as well and have the kiddos around. Maybe get some swimming in. But ready to talk some ball, man. It's been a quick week. I'm ready for this weekend, bro.
Happy birthday to sis. We love you, babe. And happy Father's Day to Trev, my dad, my brother Jared, all the great men that I know out there that have been awesome fathers. There's a lot of you guys out there. We appreciate every single one of you, man, because I know Trevor and I would not be the men that we are today if we didn't have the dad that we have. So we very much appreciate every single guy out there that does their job every single day, wakes up, being a dad, being a provider. You guys are awesome, man. You guys deserve this weekend. Before we get to our normal Lance Rants, our normal conversation, I do have an unfortunate thing to bring up when it comes to what comes out here in Kansas. You guys know we're a community-driven show, which means that our community matters so much to us, and that means Kansas City, the people of Kansas City. A great friend of mine and Trevor's as well, Mark Leno. If you guys know who he is the founder, owner, operator of the single greatest clothing brand to ever come out of Kansas City, Made Mob, Made Urban Apparel. They have been around now for about 15 years, roughly about 15 years, and they are absolutely blowing up the spot. You guys know who they are. Everybody's wearing their stuff these days, and I'm not even talking about from people in Kansas City. We're talking about celebrities all over the world. We love the success they're having, and we always rock their stuff. As you can see, I'm rocking the hat right now, one of the OG hats. This is one of my favorite things they ever put out. Whenever Mark puts out something new, I'm always pre-ordering it because we just love their stuff. And you feel like your family, you feel like you're attached to these people and the brand that they have, which is why it makes you so happy when you see the success, but it also makes you so sad when you see unfortunate events take place. If you don't know what I'm talking about, last night, their main store on the crossroads out there in downtown Kansas City, Missouri, right on the heart of Kansas City, Missouri, right in the merger area. Their store was unfortunately vandalized by some dipshit that had an axe, I guess, in his hands. I was finishing up some notes for the show this morning, and I saw Mark post about it, and quite frankly, it just broke my heart. It broke my heart not just because of the obvious, the fact that Mark is such a close friend, a brother of ours here, a big supporter of our show here, and we're big supporters of him, but it's the fact that this is something that maybe I have kind of a naive viewpoint on my city. That probably is a lot of it, but I've always believed that our city's better than stuff like this. And Trevor and I were talking about it before the show. I don't want to put words in Trevor's mouth, but he didn't really have to say much to kind of just, others, I say, I feel like we're better than this. Trevor's like, are we? Like that. It's a fair question to ask. But I would like to believe we can get better than that. And it's just a very unfortunate thing to happen. Mark's not going to let this obviously stop them. I mean, they're still going to open up shop today. They're still going to keep doing what they do. They're going to keep being great people and a great brand. Nothing's going to stop them from being that. But I wanted to put that out there to show our love and support for them at Made. And I want to put this challenge out there to our city to do better. This is just a really unnecessary, shitty situation. And if this guy hasn't been found yet, God, I hope he does before I find him, because that is not something I can accept to happen to anybody, let alone somebody that I care and love that much that I do for Mark and his entire brand, the entire Made Mob family.
Oh, yeah. Step number one, go out there, maybe buy something from them today.
Yeah.
Support them, buy some online maybe too.
Yes.
Also, happy Father's Day to Mark as well.
Great man, great father, and
Hell of a
exactly.
papa.
I'm glad you brought that up, Trevor. They have Father's Day things going on right now, guys. They have this new Midwest trend they got coming out there with some Midwest themes they got going right now with some of their clothing. I'm telling you right now, if you guys have never been to their shop, go and show them some love today. If you have a free Saturday, guys, go right down there on Southwest Boulevard. You can't miss them, literally. And like Trevor said, they have an online store, a great online presence. They're all over social media. They have deals with the Chiefs, deals with the Royals. They got things going, guys. So if you want to show some love to a local company today, go and do that today. Show Mark some love. Tell him that we at the Spoken Podcast sent you. We'd very much appreciate that. We very much appreciate you guys all together. But I just wanted to put that out there before we got any further into the show. So now, without further ado, it is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Yeah! We're back on motion! The moon's gonna do me! Woo!
There are a couple of topics at hand when it comes to the Chiefs today in particular that I want to talk about. And, I think it's very fitting that it's on Father's Day because, what fathers are supposed to teach their kids, parents as a whole, but, from our experience here in Trevor and I's lives, we were always taught to have confidence in things. Our grandfather and our father instilled that in us, be confident, go out there and provide, go out there and make a name for yourself, go out there and be something. And today I want to talk about three things that I'm confident in when it comes to the Chiefs and what's happening in OTAs with practices and moving forward. Before we know it, guys, the season's going to be here. I want to talk about three things that I do feel a certain level of confidence that are going to happen. And the first one I want to talk about, guys, is somebody you guys know I care about a lot and I believe in still to this day, even though he's switching positions. And that's Kingsley 𝚂𝙾𝙳, and that is him being a successful player for the Chiefs moving forward at left guard. So there's obviously been questions surrounding Kingsley and what he's going to be for this team. We know initially coming in, he was supposed to be coming in as the left tackle, the starting left tackle day one. I was confident in him. A lot of people were confident in him. There were still questions to be had, and we saw quickly that the Chiefs lost their confidence in Kingsley as a left tackle, and he pretty much redshirted as a player altogether in 2025, or 2024. But now that in 2025, we see that Kingsley is getting another opportunity to be a starting offensive lineman for the Kansas City Chiefs, and this time it's going to be more than likely and almost assumed at left guard. And there was a lot of questions that the media was asking him during OTAs, and the question they were asking him is basically just the generalized question: how are things going for you right now when it comes to you transitioning and fitting into your new role with the offensive line? If we could put that first one up there, the question was asked, and he answered with, quote, "It's going great." And this is, by the way, I want to put out the credit out there. This is all from Arrowhead Pride, one of the number one news sources for all Chiefs information. You guys know this, so I just want to give them their credit. Quote, "It's going great," 𝚂𝙾𝙳 said on the transition. "It's a new learning step for me and a learning curve for me to better myself. I just think the more positions I can learn how to play, the better value I am. So it's going good," end quote. He also goes on another slide where he says, quote, being aggressive right off the get-go, I love that, 𝚂𝙾𝙳𝙸𝚂 explained. Just being right in contact right away off the ball in regards to what the position has been like for him so far in practicing and getting better at it. The reason I am so confident, guys, in Kingsley getting this down and playing this level is because of the fact that, one, he is such a skilled football player. The thing that ran out, we were talking last year before the draft started, and I was talking to Trevor. We had our guy Mike Williams from All Chiefed Up on here. Him and Steve over there on their show agreed with me. Our guys over at Chief Concerns, Marcus and JD, they all agreed that Kingsley, although might be a raw player, there's one thing we cannot debate. There's one thing we cannot question. It is athletic prowess. It is his ability to be great with his body. That is something we cannot debate. The question then rose, though, last year is does he have the footwork to be a left tackle? Because you can be an awesome athlete. We've seen some great athletes play guard and center. We know this. But maybe they don't have the footwork of being a right or left tackle. That is what I think the situation is for Kingsley. I think we found out in real time that he may not be a left tackle in this league. And maybe he might be still. Maybe he just has to grow into his grown man body, and eventually those feet will start to click. I don't know. All I do know is I am very confident that Kingsley's going to be a successful left guard in this league because of athleticism, but also because of this. His mentality, his mindset, his attitude. These are things that go so far for a young player in this league. He could have sat here and said, you know what? I came into this league to be a left tackle. I'm going to be a left tackle. And cause problems amongst the team and cause tension and a rift between him and his coaches, him and his teammates, and made it about himself. And you know what? I can live with that because I understand the ego and the pride that comes with being a professional player. You want to play the position that you came in to play. I would understand it. But I admire the living hell out of the fact that this kid, 21 years old, can say, you know what? I didn't work out at that position, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be the best at what I am given opportunities to play. And that is what he's doing here right now, guys. And maybe this is all just a show where he's just saying these things, but deep down he's still pissed about not playing left tackle. Maybe that is the case. But I like the fact that he's willing to play ball literally and figuratively for and with this team to give them what they need out of him as a guy they took an early draft pick on, a guy they clearly trusted in and believed in to become a legitimate starter for this team. I love the fact that Kingsley 𝚂𝙾𝙳𝙸𝚂 is giving us this relaxed approach, but also aggressive at the same time of not shying away from the opportunity, not causing a rift, not doing anything like that. He's not being a distraction by any means. He's giving us a player, a guy that wants to come in and win the job and be a solidified a piece to the puzzle to get back and win the Super Bowl. How do these quotes hit your ears, Trevor? Do you see it the same way, or are you thinking maybe this is just him just saying what he needs to say?
Nah, he's being a good boy. He's doing what he's told.
Right.
No, I mean, listen, we both believe in the kid. We both like the kid. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. Comes from a good family. He's a freak athlete, right? So freak athletes you can do something with that.
Right.
He has the intangibles. It's just does he have the skill set to play left tackle? That's still to be determined, and it's seemingly looking like no, at least not right now. But he's definitely good enough of an athlete to play a guard position or internal offensive line at some point. And I think that's the case, and I think that's where we're at right now as far as training camp goes. Can he be a starting guard for this offensive line? That's still up in the air as well. But I think he has the athleticism, and I think he has the skill set to do that. And plus, man, listen, where he was taken, there was an investment in this kid, to be something. It'd be a massive flop of a pick if he just eventually fizzles out and is just not on this roster after this season or some, whatever, gets cut or whatever. So I have high hopes, and I think that the team, I think Andy Reid loves the kid. I think, he's gloated over him during the draft when we drafted him. He was put in a rough spot, last season, though. I think we all can agree on that. And I think we all kind of had maybe too much expectations, especially me and you on this show had maybe too much expectations of what he could be for this roster. And that was a lot for him. This game is a fast game, coming from college to transitioning to the pros. This happens a lot, like you said, with left tackles not transitioning from the collegiate game to the pros. not adapting well enough to be a starting left tackle. A lot of those guys transition to guards, and that's okay. That happens. That's just, this is a tough sport, man, and that's why the great left tackles stand out and shine so much, because it is that much of a tough position to play. So the guys that are outstanding stand out like a sore thumb. So I just hope that this kid can become something for this offensive line. I hope it's a starting position, because that's where he was drafted to be. You want your investments to pan out, on the ROI. So I like the kid a lot. I think he has, without question, the athleticism to be a professional athlete and to contribute. I do think he can be a starting guard for this offensive line. I think we need him to be.
Yeah.
I think he has to kind of pan out, and if it doesn't, it's an L. And that happens a lot in this league as well. But when you're a team like the Chiefs that is depending on the guys in this roster to continue pursuing championships, we're not a team who's pursuing 8-9 wins.
Right.
We're a team who's looking at 13 to 14 every season.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I have high hopes still for the kid. I think one season, failing at the position he was drafted to play, it sucks. It was an eyesore. It was probably a shot to his ego and his pride. It was probably a shot to the ego and the pride of the scouts that scouted him to be that and put him in that position, and the coaches that put him in that position to be that starter. Granted, we were shorthanded. But all that being said, I still think this kid can contribute and will contribute to this offensive line this season.
And I want to give a real shout out. That's a really good take, man. I definitely agree with just about everything you just said right there. I want to give a shout out to the chat too, because I know that this is something that we've seen in the chat throughout time. Like Ruben de Cruz has strong takes on King Sumo, as he likes to call him. I know a lot of you guys have strong takes on him. If you have strong takes on any of these takes, definitely get in there, guys, because I can tell you every single show multiple times, we want to get you guys' thoughts on all these takes. This is a show where Trevor and I are not talking at you. We're talking with you. We want you to talk with us, guys. Have a conversation here. So go on YouTube real quick. Go to the Spoken Podcast. Hit subscribe. Hit like, notify, share, all that stuff. All that helps big time. But get in the comments, guys. That's where we want you guys. We already have a ton of people here. Dust Norton's already in. Lonnie Pyramid, shout out to you guys. Julia Gulia said, let's fucking go. Turn the laptop just in time for the Spoken. Thank you so much, Julia. We always love it when you're here. You're a true life of the party here. We really appreciate all you guys for hanging out with us. Our guy Jay Kelsey's here as well. So if you guys are in the chat, hang with us, talk with us. Give us whatever you guys want to talk about, because there's subjects at hand that we want to address, but if there's something else you guys want to talk about, that's why we have the entire segment. Speak it. Whatever questions you guys have, takes, comments, questions, concerns, all of it. Give it to us, guys. Let us know what you guys want to talk about on this hot-ass Saturday. But yeah, that is where I stand on the Kingsley side of things. I'm open to the idea that maybe it just flat out doesn't work out. But I am very confident because, like I said, I think when you're this talented and you have a coach like Andy Reid and you have the coaching staff around Andy Reid, I think that they always seem to find a way that if you are true NFL talent, if you are a true NFL player, they're going to find a way to maximize your abilities. And I think that's what's going to happen with Kingsley. It may not be the position I thought. It may not be what I was hoping him to be. But if he's going to be the left guard for this team for the next 5 to 8, 9, 10 years, how is that a bad thing at all?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is a guy that you can
if he plays it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's doing his job and is protecting Patrick Mahomes' essential blindside, being the left guard, helping with the left tackle, and gives Creed Humphrey what he needs on the left side of it, because we know what's happening on the right side. We'll get to that in just a second.
Right.
But if you're just doing your job and creating running lanes for the running backs and just doing what you're put in that position to do, I'm not going to have any complaints. I think it's a successful pick at the end of the day from Brett Veach. So if you have thoughts on Kingsley, guys, and what he's been stating at camp, so we're not camp, but OTAs and some of these little meetings, they're having mini camps right now, go ahead and give us that, because that's where we're at right now, guys, in the midst of the summer. The next thing I want to talk about is a little bit over to the right side of things. This is about Trey Smith. We know that the Chiefs obviously tagged him. He's set to make around $23.1 million in the 2025 year based on his cap, or his tag rather. And that is against the cap completely. It's fully guaranteed. The Chiefs cannot wiggle out of the $23 million they owe Trey Smith. This was obviously the move the Chiefs wanted to make. They traded Joe Thuney, the older veteran on the left side of things, and they tagged Trey Smith. So there's a clear intention that the Chiefs want to get a long-term deal done with Trey Smith. And from everything we know about Trey Smith, he wants to be in Kansas City as well. There's quotes here as well. This is from the Arrowhead Pride yet again. On Thursday, the Kansas City Chiefs completed day 9. There's nothing on there, so I'm just going to read it. Kansas City Chiefs completed day 9 of the voluntary portion of the organized team activities, which is OTAs. Media members were allowed to attend day 3, 6, and 9. Nice. On each of the days, right guard Trey Smith was absent. Speaking after day 9's workouts, Chiefs head coach Andy Reid had little to say about whether Smith would be present for next week's 3-day minicamp, which begins Tuesday, June 17th. Andy Reid was quoted as saying, "We'll see. I don't know that, to be honest with you. We'll see where it goes," end quote. In late February, obviously, the Chiefs informed Smith he would franchise tag for the 2025 season, and he signed the tag in mid-March. By signing the tag, Smith obviously officially joined the 90-man offseason roster, making him subject to fines if he skips any particular minicamp. The breakdown is basically, if he misses day 1, it's a little over $17,000. Day 2, it's essentially $35,000, and then day 3, $52.3 grand. Missing all 3 days would result in a total of $104,768 in total fines. And while that number may not seem steep, that might seem steep, the tag does guarantee 23.4. I said 23.1, but it's 23.4 in 2025, providing leverage as the two sides continue to work on a long-term deal. At the NFL scouting combine in late February, Chiefs general manager Brett Veach told reporters he intended to retain Smith for the long term. In late March, Smith reiterated his desire to stay with the club beyond 2025. Quote, "Ultimately," Smith told FanDuel TV's Kay Adams, "I only focus on just working out and training. I love Kansas City. It's my home. I love the Chiefs. The fans in Kansas City are some of the best people I've ever been around. Ultimately, I would love to stay there. That's my plan." This is going to happen. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there now. The Chiefs and Trey Smith are going to come up with a deal, and I think it's going to happen similarly. Do you remember last offseason when we were talking about the Creed Humphrey deal?
Yep.
And throughout this, the whole training camp part of the summer, we're like, I mean, he's eligible for it. We know this is a given. You know, we've seen the Chiefs invest early second-round pick in Creed. He's been the starting guy since day 1. I mean, I'm not worried about it, but why hasn't it happened yet? And then right before, I believe it was against the Bears in the preseason, we got the news. Adam Schefter reported the Chiefs and Creed Humphrey agreed to a long-term deal. And we're like, oh, okay, good. Like, it happened. I think that's how this is going to go. Obviously, the Chiefs bought themselves some time with the franchise tag, and obviously it's not going to happen in like week 2 of the of preseason. But I think it's going to be something like that, where it's getting towards the end of the deadline for the franchise tag guys and all that stuff to get a long-term deal. And then we're just going to hear the Chiefs and Trey Smith, 4-year deal, $95 million, 68, $70 million of it guaranteed. And then we move on. I think that's what's going to happen. Because I don't think there's any scenario, and I mean this, I don't think there's any real scenario where the Chiefs, at least from their side of things, had an intention of keeping him on a $23 million deal, fully guaranteed for just 1 year. That's not how the Chiefs operate. They don't keep guys on tags like that hardly ever. You saw when they tagged Snead, what'd they do? They traded him. If they were going to trade Trey Smith, they would have tagged and traded him immediately, just like they did with L'Jarius Sneed. They wouldn't wait right before the season and give up their right guard, who's one of the best in the league, and get nothing for this year immediately. That would be insanely stupid. So that leaves one other option. They're going to sign him long-term. So, and knowing that Trey Smith isn't being vague about it and being open about it and saying, I want to be here.
Yeah.
I love Kansas City. He's not saying, well, we'll see what happens. Like, Andy Reid's always the one that plays coy. Andy's the one that plays coy. When the player plays coy, I get a little nervous. When Brett Veach plays coy, I get a little nervous. That's when I always feel like, you always know Brett Veach. I've always said, Brett Veach is the worst liar. He is so bad at it. He is not good at being vague.
Yeah.
And when he says things in a vague way, I tend to feel like, okay, there's something at play. And Brett Veach has been very like, oh, we love Trey. We want to see things happen. You always hear the tonality of his voice. And I think that shows you that they're going to figure this out. It's just a matter of getting the right number down. The Chiefs are going to have to meet Trey Smith halfway here because let's be real, man. As time goes on, guards are going to start making a lot more money. Yeah. I understand they don't matter as much as the tackle. They don't matter as much as the center. But man, when you have a guy as talented as Trey Smith that's well over exceeded his expectations as a 6th-round pick, you gotta throw him a bone. You gotta throw him a bone. And when he's just now about to start entering his prime years, a guy that has not missed a game, has played every game right next to Creed Humphrey. You have a tandem in place like that. You want to make sure that stays together for as long as they can, as long as they're both great at what they do. And if Kingsley hits, you have the best interior offensive line again in the NFL because they had that last year with Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. That's why I didn't like Joe Thuney having to move to left tackle because you mess up the nucleus that opens up everything for your run game. And that's what happened. That's why the run game took a massive dip once Joe had to move to left tackle. So
now Joe's gone and now Trey, we can't lose Trey also.
Exactly.
That can't happen.
Exactly. So I know that there is a growing concern. It may not be a massively growing concern just yet amongst Chiefs fans, but I want to put that out there and let Chiefs fans know that this is, I truly believe, because you can't plan out everything, but I truly do believe this is something the Chiefs have planned out. Them and Trey Smith have a very great, healthy relationship. I think they're going to get this done. Do you feel the same way, Trevor?
Well, yeah, Julia Gulia in the chat says, what's the projected cap increase for the next 2 years? Yeah, pay Trey.
Exactly.
That's my response as well.
Well, real quick, the biggest part of this also is it helps the Chiefs gain money back immediately if they do get this deal done.
It's a win-win.
It would bring his cap number from $23 million this year to about 10 to 12.
Yeah.
So you're adding about $10 million. So let's say the Chiefs lose a big player and they need to go sign somebody or try to make a trade, they can afford that with that extra 10 million.
And Juwan Taylor's money's gradually going down too.
Right. He's got 19 and a half and he's done after this year. Right. So yeah.
So that's going to fizzle off pretty quickly after this season, and basically entirely unless we extend him, which we probably will. Maybe, I'm not sure.
I think real quick, that thought. If Jalen Moore plays well this year, because I think. And I heard 96.5 literally copy and paste my take on this, but that's okay. The Jalen Moore starts as the left tackle. Josh Simmons gets that job in 2026. I think Jalen Moore can move to right tackle next year. He would be cheaper.
He could play both for sure.
And he might be a pretty damn good tackle. Who knows? We'll find out this year about Jalen Moore, but that's just something to watch out for because it might save the Chiefs some money.
For sure. But yeah, I don't have too much more to add to that. I think we understand. I think anybody who watches enough Chiefs football understands the significance of Trey Smith and what he does on that right side and all the highlights of him. You know, you calling him Pancake Poppy and all these things. That's what this guy does. Yep. You know, I mean, there's not too many highlight reels for right guards or left guards in this league, but the dude is a dominant force, and I think that the opposition recognizes what he does on a weekly basis and how much of a nuisance he is trying to get to Patrick Mahomes on that side particularly. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of guy. It definitely is one of those things, you know, depending on the importance of the guard, because guards are tough to pay, especially with the amount of money they're paying. They're paying these guys now, but like to Julia's point, you know, the cap is going up, and you know we're able to afford more things. That's kind of how this goes,
right?
You know, but I think he is an important piece to this puzzle and the success and the ability for us to stay afloat and maintain the success that we've been maintaining and having the you know mindset of championship or bust season in season out since Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have been here. He is one of those guys that has been you know a glue piece to this you know the cohesion of this offensive line and the protection of Patrick Mahomes. It's really just been figuring out that left side and having some kind of continuity on that left side. The right side has not been really a worry of any of ours, no matter how much we want to shit on Juwan Taylor and talk about his penalties and all that stuff being blown out of proportion. Honestly, the right side has been the last thing we've worried about on this offensive line. So figure out the left side, pay Trey Smith, keep that anchor with him and Creed, you know, next to each other, doing what they do best, protecting Patrick Mahomes on that side and getting the left side figured out is all we really have to worry about. So I think paying Trey makes all the sense in the world, man.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Because you know where I stand. I'm big on interior presence. I think teams who master the interior of both offensive and defensive line will always be in Super Bowl contention.
I mean, yeah, bro.
You know what I mean?
And like I said, like you said, we've said it several times in the show. You can't have a revolving door at left tackle.
Right.
So figuring out left tackle, just getting some continuity there.
Right.
and then letting the rest of the greats we have on this offensive line do their job.
Right.
There's been a weak link on this offensive line for years now. The fact that we managed to go to several Super Bowls and win several Super Bowls while having a revolving door at left tackle just shows you the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. So protect the man, figure out that left side, and let the guys on the right side do what they continue to do since they've been here. So
yeah,
pay Trey, bro.
Can I agree? The running. This is from a guy named TJ. Thank you for being here, TJ. The running game being bad puts so much pressure on Mahomes. I hope Broussard acts some juice. I don't know the last part of that, but I do agree with that. The pressure being put on Mahomes, and this is again why Trey Smith plays such a big role in this, because Trey Smith is better. His biggest strength is run blocking. And I think that's a good thing to have in this offense, even though I understand that, yes, this is more of a pro passing offense. The Chiefs have to have more of a balanced attack as time goes on.
Yeah.
And I know that's always been a struggle for Andy Reid, because Andy Reid loves just to throw the shit out of the ball. But he's also noticed, I think Andy's has had to learn this by now, that when they have a balanced attack, it opens everything up for Patrick Mahomes in the play action game, RPO game, downfield. Like as this offense continues to age and grow together with all these young weapons around Mahomes, I think that's the best attack for it. And I think a guy like Trey Smith being that wild card on the offensive line is what's going to give you that option of saying, hey, we can run this option route right here through the C gap. Trey's going to blow that open, and we're going to have a 15-yard run right here because the linebackers, the light boxes we're getting right now, there's only going to be one linebacker on the field at this time, and the two linebackers on this time. We can get that upfield blocking. Him and Creek can get that nastiness going, get those big bodies rolling downhill. All of a sudden, the run game becomes an effective piece. And if you got Pacheco and Kareem Hunt leading the way in this, that's going to keep them involved in the offense. That's going to keep their confidence going. I don't see how that's a negative at all. And again, what that does, that creates everything for your RPO game. We know that Patrick Mahomes loves running that. Yeah. We know that play action has a big effect on this offense. If you get that going, man, you're going to have guys like Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Rashee Rice just streaking downfield, Jalen Royals, guys like that, developing their games in this offense. It only builds a positive for everything, because you want to have an offense that hits all three dimensions of the passing game. Utilize the run game, and a guy like Trey Smith is going to give you that option. You might go get him more of a, let's say they just have him tagged this year, and for some reason it doesn't work out, whatever the situation ends up becoming, they don't get it done with Trey Smith, and they go get more of a pass-friendly style guy at offense. That could work. But how the hell do we know? Because here's the thing. You lucked out so viciously with Trey Smith in the 6th round, him falling to the 6th round because of, I think it was blood clot issues, which has been since resolved and has never recurred. But the thing about it is that you can't rely on that happening again. That's why we talked about with the run game this year, about how, Bashard Smith might work out. We've seen Pacheco work out for me in the 7th round. But what if he doesn't? Like, you can't just assume that's going to happen every time. You can give Brett Veach the benefit of the doubt, but you're not going to find Trey Smith in the 6th round ever again. Those guys do not exist in the 6th round. That was a very special one-off situation. Yeah. So you can't bank on that just reoccurring. That's why when you have special, you got to hold on to special. He's special. He's one of the 5 best right guards in this league, bar none. You pay that guy.
Yeah, not only special, but bargain special. You get him
on
a bargain. So, I mean, that... For me, man, I think having a well-balanced offense is important, and I think having guys that are great at run blocking along with figuring out the left tackle situation to protect Patrick Mahomes to play a little more pass-heavy if you wanted to, because we haven't really been able to do the true kind of game that Patrick Mahomes wants to, having 4 or 5 steps and being able to drop back and throw the ball downfield comfortably. It hasn't been a reality for the last couple seasons.
Right.
You know what I mean? So figuring out the left tackle obviously matters the most, but having those anchors in the internal part of your offensive line is massive as well, man. And guys that are so good at it, like Trey Smith, and getting him at a bargain like he did when we drafted him, and he's overachieved at that position. You pay those guys, man. You just do. I mean, he's earned his money, and I think he knows that. And I know he's been absent with these little things at camps or these little mini camps or whatever. That stuff doesn't matter to me at all, man.
No,
that's just gamesmanship. That's how this is. There's communication going on behind closed doors. I expect these two parties to figure it out, because this is do or die this season. If you don't pay him, he's most likely gone next year, obviously. So, yeah, man. I think you pay Trey Smith. I think he's contributed to massively to the success of this team and how we've been able to stay afloat and continue to progress forward and compete for championships year in, year out. And I think he's been without question a massive part of that. So you pay the guys that are consistent at what they do. And especially at the opposite line where we got to figure a lot of things, figuring out losing Joe Tooney this offseason. You don't want to lose. You don't want to continue to lose more and more pieces. So, yeah, guards are getting paid, man. That's just the way of the league right now. That's just how it goes. I think he's worth the investment. I think that's a guy that you keep around for sure.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you guys right now something I'm confident in the most, and I saved this one for last. J.D. Hicks is going to be the next star on this team. I know we focus on Xavier Worthy.
A lot of hype, man.
I know we focus on the potential of a lot of these young guys. And look, offensive side of the ball, that is where I'm going to be focusing a lot of my attention this year because, like I told you guys, I'm very high on this wide receiver room, as high as I've been on a wide receiver room in the Mahomes era. I told you guys this, and this is another take that was taken from me from local. It's okay. Like I really am flattered by it, but I do believe this is going to be the best wide receiver room in the Mahomes era. From top to bottom, I think this is the most talented, most complete, most stacked. I know that's a word that gets thrown around a lot of times unnecessarily, but like elite and GOAT and stacked, like those words get used way too often. I really do believe this could be a stacked wide receiver room for the Chiefs. But on the defensive side, we are going to need this team. We're going to need this team to have guys at the back of the defense that can be reliable because you lose a veteran that's helped you get to 3 straight Super Bowls in Justin Reed. You lose that guy.
Yep.
That's a massive loss on paper. Because I think the Chiefs have a guy that I think is going to be even better than Justin Reed, and that is high praise. That is not disrespect to Justin Reed. That is high praise to who I believe J.D. Hicks is going to be, and I mean this year. So J.D. Hicks was one hell of a quote at mini camps, and he's going to continue to be because I think he's going to be a guy that could potentially be a captain on this defense one day. I really believe that. There was a lot of question in regards to Justin Reed to top it off. We'll put that on the screen now. In regards to Justin Reed and what he meant to J.D. Hicks' development. Justin Reed was a great help, quote by Hicks. He really did a great job taking me under his wing, just being savvy, know how to disguise the defense. That's a big part of the scheme. I think we all got a voice in this room, but I got to step up, be a voice out there, and, just lead the defense. He was also dialed in on mastering the full defensive scheme. This is another quote. Quote, just learning everything about the defense, playing multiple positions. You've got to learn what everyone else is doing, Hicks explained. So I think just staying in my playbook. The familiarity is paying off during OTAs. Being a rookie last year, with all that piled onto me, your head's scrambling, right? He said, now that I've got it under control, it's easier. I'm able to play faster. And this is the quote I want you guys to focus on the most. For Hicks and the Chiefs, last season's Super Bowl loss still lingers, but it's no longer a cloud, it's motivation. Quote, being there my first year, that's super cool, but I want to win. I want that ring, Hicks said. That's something we're all striving for. After this season, I think there was a little change. Everyone's mentality just clicked up that much higher. It's very professional and the thing that we need to do this year, end quote. See, everybody says stuff like this, but there's some guys that you truly believe mean it. And J.D. Hicks is one of those dudes. The reason why I say that is he starts off all of his quotes by appreciating the one that came before him. That shows humility. That shows awareness from a young guy that says, you know what, this dude was kind enough to do this for me, knowing I was his direct competition and was ultimately going to be the one that replaced him because they knew I was the younger, cheaper option. And this dude still did that. So that shows the appreciation and humility from a young player like J.D. Hicks. Then he talks about mastering the defense, which means that this dude is in his book. I know every fan always says whenever they see like Patrick Mahomes swinging a golf club or some player out there having a good time and enjoying their life, oh, why aren't they in their playbook? J.D. Hicks is actually one of those dudes that I think does take in his free time his playbook with him and is mastering the defense and learning how to be a general on the football field. Because as we know, safeties are called safeties for a reason. They're that safety net, that last line of defense before the team scores a touchdown against you. He has to know what the rest of his defense is doing. He has to understand the tendencies of every single player that's in front of him. He has to understand these things, and he grasps that. Some safeties just rely on their athleticism. We've seen that before. Dudes that are amazing freak athletes, but they can't read a freaking offense. They can't even read their own freaking defense. And you see them get cooked. It happens throughout the year, every single year. Jaden Hicks doesn't want that to happen with him. So that shows me this dude is a guy that's going to take ownership of everything he does or does not do on the football field. That is what we call leadership. And then when it comes to the hunger and the drive of what pushes him to be a better football player, it's not the money, even though I would totally understand that. I would never blame a player who says, you know what? I want to make as much money as I possibly can. I would respect that fact. But let's be real. As fans, we want to hear our players say, I'm driven by rings. I'm driven by winning Super Bowls. We want to hear that because that tells me they're invested as much as we are. And that's why those guys become fan favorites, because we know they are driven by the thing that drives us to the TV or the stadium every single Sunday. And Jaden Hicks makes it very clear. I was there my first year. It was really cool, but we didn't win it. So it didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Now I'm driven by it even more. This, and I hate doing the inner sport comparisons or the inner city sport comparisons. Like, well, this is like the Chiefs, so this must be like the Royals. I hate doing that, but I will make an exception real quick. These comments remind me so much of 10 years ago when we heard Eric Hosmer, Moustakas, Salvi, and all the guys talking about losing in the World Series, how much that sucked, and it drove them so much that next year. And you saw them an even better team the next year and just rolled through the playoffs, rolled the Mets. It was such an easy run. I'm not saying that's how this is going to go. What I'm saying, though, is I love the mentality this kid has already when it comes to, I lost my first time in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to lose again. That next time I'm there, we're winning it. Yeah. I love that mentality so much. I loved it when George Kittle said it after losing the Super Bowl against the Chiefs in Super Bowl 54.
I will be back.
He goes, I will be back. I love that. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
You want guys like that on your team. That is what the Chiefs have here in Jaden Hicks. He is. I'm telling you guys right now. I waited for the last part of this because this is the one I'm most confident in. This is the next star on this defense. This is a guy that is also driven by the fact that he was a fourth-round pick when he knew he had first-round talent. This is a dude that I don't know how, guys. I do not know how, but he slipped through the cracks for over 3 rounds. The NFL messed up so bad by letting him fall to the Chiefs. How do I know this? Go look up, go Twitter search it, guys, right now. Jaden Hicks Chiefs or Jaden Hicks draft, and you will see reporter after reporter after reporter, analyst after analyst after analyst, draft guru after draft guru after draft guru. Holy shit, the Chiefs got Jaden Hicks. That was the best safety in that draft. And they got him in the 4th round, which means the Chiefs aren't going to have to pay him for 4 years, really any money. So be prepared, guys, to see a dude that takes that position to the next level for this Kansas City Chiefs defense. And they're going to need that. Because as we talked about it, guys, hopefully we're seeing a developed, more polished pass rush. Hopefully that is the case with the assets they've thrown at that all offseason. But we need to see an uptick in the secondary as well, because we did see quite a few times last season them get beat downfield more times than I was comfortable with. Jaden Hicks has to be that difference maker. I think he's going to be, and I think he's going to be an absolute star in this defense. Trevor, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's shown promise when he's had his moments to shine. I think this is the moment for him now with Justin Reed being gone and him learning from Justin Reed, a very smart player, a guy that's had big moments for us in playoff runs and in Super Bowls. So listen, I'm not trying to put like the cart before the horse, but I do think that this kid has massive potential to be that guy, and we have a massive need for someone to step up and be that guy. And I think he was drafted where he was drafted, and I think that it can be used as fuel and as motivation for him, and let alone the Super Bowl loss, him tasting getting close to the sweetest of nectars, and and having it stripped away from him. So I think if this was like a quote from like our second string, our backup left guard or right guard or something like that, a guy that doesn't impact the team as much as he possibly, as much as like on a high level That's cool. That's a cool quote. But the fact this could be our starting and our best safety on this team moving forward for several years, a guy that's fueled by that loss, fueled to be successful. He's not talking about, oh, I want to make this much money or I want to, whatever. This is a guy that just wants to win and contribute to the team at a high level. And those are the things you want to hear. But I want to hear those things, and I want to see him go out and showcase that with his actions as well. And I fully expect him to follow up his words with his actions. I think this kid, like you said, like with all the people that were talking during the draft and his film alone, after we drafted him, I'm watching what this kid has done on the football field collegiately and what he's done, and sparsely in his moments as a pro on this team has been really, really impressive. And his versatility is very, very impressive with his coverage ability and his ability to lay the wood also. The kid can kind of do it all, and that's the kind of Swiss Army guy you want, even more so than Justin Reed, honestly. I think he's a better coverage guy than Justin Reed is. We all know Justin Reed can put some dudes on their ass, for sure. He can play in the box, and he can, help out with that as well, get the running game and things like that. But I think this Hicks kid definitely has the versatility to be an absolute star for this defense, and I agree with you there for sure. He talks a good game. He says the right things, and now this is the season for him to put up or shut up and show that and put that into action. Yep. We can have all the superlatives for this kid and, what we expect him to be and, the expectations that we have as fans, but I think he is matching that expectations for himself with his own words, and I love that. So, yeah, man, I'm stoked for this kid. I think, him in this room, I think can add a new element to this defense. Along with these other, new young guys that we've drafted along this defensive line, if that could become a cohesive unit and he could start kind of taking a leadership, with the other guys, the seasoned vets that have been on this defense, I think this kid could definitely become something special, man. I have high hopes for him, and I think he's showing that he has high hopes for himself as well.
A lot of confidence for sure, and that's what we're talking about today. Yeah. And James T. Kirk, glad you're back with us, brother. Saw that. G Picks jumped in. Micah Hayes jumped in. We got John Harrison live today. Holy shit. Ruben Cruz is live. John told us that he just got on actually getting to watch live today. Thank you for being here, brother.
Better late than never.
He said last week he cooked barbecue for 170 people. The only thing I'm pissed about, John, about that is not even just the fact you weren't live with us yesterday, but you didn't cook that barbecue for 172 people, if you know what I mean. So I didn't get the invite. Is what I'm saying, John. I'm kind of pissed. So thanks a lot for that, John. But we do appreciate you guys being here. And since you guys are here, we want to get your guys' thoughts on this. I know you guys just jumped in. For those that are just jumping in as well, we know it's Saturday, so you guys probably had a fun Friday night. Maybe you're getting the crusties out of your eyes now and ready to do the show. It's perfect timing because we're about to get to speak it. The 3 confident factors I have today, 3 confident topics I wanted to say on this Father Day special. When it comes to I'm sorry, what was the first one I had? I know Trey Smith, obviously, that's what I was going to talk about. But the Kingsley 𝚂𝙾𝙺𝙴𝙽, being the left guard and how he's going to succeed there. And then we have Trey Smith, and his long-term deal will come to fruition. It's a matter of when, not if, in my opinion. And then, obviously, Jaden Hicks on the defensive side of things. I think he is the next budding star for this team and for this defense, and I think he's going to be a real X factor for this team this season and moving forward. I think that the Chiefs hit a home run. I said this when the Chiefs drafted him. I didn't even have the Chiefs getting a safety in that draft. When I saw that Jaden Hicks was still there, did not even realize he was still there. When they got him, I was absolutely over the moon about that pick. I thought that they got the best safety in the draft. A lot of people thought the Chiefs got the best safety in that draft. I think he was a steal of that draft, and he's going to show that over and over again this year and for years to come, in my opinion, as a Chief. But yes, that is where we're at right now. If you guys have thoughts, opinions, takes, comments, questions, concerns, anything on those 3 topics or any other topic, I want those from you guys right here, right now, because it is now time for Speak. And Trevor, what do the people got for us?
All right, so we got some people chiming in here. I've been collecting them as we've gone on. Dustin Orton from the top rope. As always, Can we get a boxing match between Lance and Adam Best? Scrawny self. I almost didn't put this one in here.
No,
we don't tend to throw shade on this show.
People probably don't know.
Listen, man, it's a slow time of year.
Yeah,
0 fucks are kind of given right now.
Listen, let me put
Plus
this out. Let me put this out here first. I don't have any issue with Adam Best. If you guys don't know who he is, I just found out he is the creator, founder guy of Arrowhead Addict, which is a very successful platform, and I give them all the credit in the world for what they do.
Yeah.
Never had a problem with him, never had a problem with them, anything like that, even though I think they said one time, like, I think they would have taken, like, Baker Mayfield and Alex Smith over Patrick Mahomes. But I think that was them. I don't remember. But I made a tweet yesterday. I saw some madness at the national level of people giving a lot of disrespect to Jalen Hurts. You guys know where we stand on him on this show. We are Jalen Hurts guys here. I give respect to Jalen Hurts because he's a guy that beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He's a guy that's given Patrick Mahomes 2 prolific battles in the Super Bowl. Yep. He may not be the best, most talented quarterback in the league. He's not as good as Joe Burrow. He's not as good as Josh Allen. He's not as good as Lamar Jackson individually. When the lights shine the brightest, that dude plays better than all 3 of them, and he's far more accomplished than all 3 of them combined. That is what I tweeted. I said we needed the Jalen Hurts disrespect needs to be done. I guess Adam took that as a slight towards him. I don't know how. He was in the mention saying that I subtweeted him. I barely know who Adam is. That is all. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. I barely know who Adam is, and I don't follow him. I don't know any of his work. So, no, there was nothing from my side towards him. I don't need to clear that up because I don't owe that to anybody. I was talking from the national side. I tell you guys, I consume a lot of sports content. And I saw that, like, guys that I follow a lot, like Colin Cowherd and guys like that, had him at, like, a fringe top 10 player, or top 10 quarterback. I think that's ridiculous. I think he's within that 6 to 7 range, in my opinion. I think that Jalen Hurts has definitely earned himself a position up near towards the top 5. I don't think he's top 5, but he's up there because of what he's been able to accomplish in his career. And I think the dude is very talented. I think he's insanely talented, in fact. And like I said, when it matters the most, and that's what, it's so funny. That's what we talk about. You know, everybody uses the Jordan rings and 6-0 and all that stuff. When Jalen Hurts plays in the Super Bowl, he plays out of his mind. So why don't we give him that credit? I give respect to the ones that beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. I'm sorry. Is that not what Joe Burrow's entire career is banked off of?
Especially when the QB statistics are insane.
Yeah, when the Chiefs choked against the Burrow Bengals, that was everything to Joe Burrow's career.
Yeah.
He's accomplished literally nothing besides that. Nothing. That's the only thing he's ever accomplished. He's never won MVP. He's never won a Super Bowl. That's all he has. And people crown him. Why can't we crown Jalen Hurts? I don't know. So that's what happened for those that don't know. That's the context of it all. I wish Adam nothing but the best, literally. I hope him and Arrowhead Addict are doing great. Shit, maybe one of these days we'll have him on the show. I don't know. All I'm saying is there was nothing there from my side. Adam got in his feelings for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't even know the dude. I hope he's doing great, though, and I hope he's enjoying it. If he's a father, have a happy Father's Day, brother.
Yeah, hell yeah. And a boxing match for sure would be a happy ending for one party,
quick.
and I can tell you which one that is real easily. Justin Orton with the next follow-up question. Speak it. Thoughts on Bengals' first-round pick holding out signing his contract?
Yeah, Shamar Stewart, that was a guy I really liked in this draft for the Chiefs, ironically. Supposedly he's from the Kansas City region, from what I read.
Sabotage.
So people are trying to read into that now for some reason. Yeah, because he's going to pass up on millions because he's a Chiefs fan. This is ugly, but I think this is just more of the same, if we're being honest here, guys, of what the Bengals are as a franchise. Like, it's so fitting this is happening to the Bengals. The same franchise that was trying to not pay Jamar Chase, the same franchise that's still not trying to pay Trey Hendrickson, who's borderline Hall of Fame pass rusher, a guy that's saved their ass defensively more times than I can count, dominates the Chiefs every time he freaking plays them. I don't understand this franchise at all. I think this is more about them. Do I think that obviously the onus does fall on him a little bit? Yeah, sure, because he obviously has to sign the deal. He was drafted there. I get all that. But you know what's funny to me, Trevor, is that we sit here and we criticize players like this that are doing things like this, who are getting lowballed on their initial first-round offer. But no one says shit about Eli Manning doing what he did.
Right.
When he got drafted by the Chargers and threw a big hissy fit, cried about it until he finally got his way and went to the Giants. Or when John Elway said, I'll just go play in the what's called the USFL or whatever it was back then, the Canadian League. I'll just go play over there. I'll go play baseball with the Yankees who drafted me. I don't want to play for whoever it was I think it was the Colts. I don't want to play for them. And then he ended up getting moved to the Broncos.
Yeah.
Like Magic Johnson did that in the NBA. When I think he got drafted, he was going to get drafted by the Bulls. He goes, "Nope. I will not play for the Bulls." You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't talk about those guys, but Shamar's doing something similar to that. Maybe not the same thing, maybe even less pathetic, and we're sitting here crucifying this kid. I kind of respect it, honestly, because he knows his worth. He knows his leverage because they essentially drafted him to replace Trey Hendrickson.
Probably got a good agent, so I'm not.
Yeah. And
Just
if
looking out for 'em.
if the Bengals are at least a quarter intelligent, which I still do challenge the notion, I would say pay this kid better. These first round picks know their worth, especially like they said when he's looking over here and seeing the veteran, the OG,
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson not getting his bank, but I'm supposed to take less for you guys too. I'm gonna probably replace this dude. Like, how does this work? You know what I mean? Like, make it make sense for me to make it sense for Shamar. That's all I'm saying.
This is the franchise that just I would say overpaid at least one receiver, dropped the entire Brinks truck on their both receivers to keep them there. So those contracts are gonna most likely haunt them. At least one of them will. Julia with the next question. Lance, have you done another offseason wish list? And if not, how do you think the Chiefs have done?
Well, okay, so you guys know I did my offseason wish list very early on to see how right or wrong I was. Last year, I nailed it. I know I did. This year, it was kind of hit and miss. And Julia, close your ears because one of them involves trading Trent McDuffie. But you guys do know that I had a wish list. It's February 22nd. I posted this. So obviously I said extend Joe Thuney. They didn't do that. Resign or tag trade Trey Smith. They did tag him. And I do believe they're going to resign him. So I technically got that one right. Resign Hollywood Brown. They did that. Resign Charles Minihoo. They did that. They did not resign DJ Humphries, which I was hoping for. They did resign Kareem Hunt, which is on my list. Resign Juju Smith-Schuster. They did get that. They did not resign Turk Wharton. He ended up getting that better deal elsewhere. And then sign and trade for a veteran tight end. They did go and sign a couple of veteran tight ends, actually. Signed Willie Gay Jr. I wanted him back. Yeah. He ended up getting a better deal. I think it was with the Dolphins. I think that's what it was. Yeah. And then signed veteran guard to compete with Kingsley. They didn't do that. I think they're very confident in what they have now at their positions. With guys behind him, C.J. Hansen, Norzad, guys like that. And then trade Trent McDuffie for the earliest first-round pick and or multiple picks. That obviously did not happen. But rest assured, after this season, I will be back on that take, and I will not budge from that take unless I feel otherwise. But that is my current wish list. I usually only do one because I don't want to be bouncing around with a bunch of different wish lists. It's not like mock draft 12, mock draft 13. This is an initial off-season wish list I had. I got about 6 of them right. There was what, 12? Yeah, so I got about half of my wish list this year. The year before, I think I got like 11 of 12. But yeah, this was a little bit more of a down year. But I like the ones that I got right because I think those are the ones that I wanted the most, if that makes sense.
Well, that segues perfectly into our next question from our guy Micah Hayes. So do you guys think we should trade Trent McDuffie for picks? Like you said, I agree. Cornerbacks rarely stay elite when they sign a big second contract.
I don't want to dive too far deep into this again because, again, guys, we know Trent's going to be a Chief for 2025. So we're not going to sit here and theorize on it right now. All I will say is that what he said right there is 100% correct. That cornerbacks normally do not age well. Yeah. And especially undersized guys, they're going to play more on the slot side of things. I think that Trent is a guy that provides the Chiefs what they need right this second. But I also think that they need to maximize on what he has in value later on because we're seeing all these other cornerbacks that are not as good as Trent McDuffie getting these $100 million deals. The Chiefs are not giving that to Trent McDuffie. The Chiefs have never paid until this offseason a cornerback any real money at all, and it was Christian Fulton. I think it was $25 million. They're not giving a cornerback a $100 million deal. That's just not how the Chiefs work. And it's not like it's a bad idea either because, guys, we all know that every team, especially teams that are trying to contend every year, they have to be cheap somewhere. Yep. And if they're not going to be cheap at cornerback anymore, then you guys got to tell me where they're going to be cheap at because they're not going to be cheap on offense, ever. They're never going to be cheap on offense, and they never should be. You need to spend money on offense, especially when you have Patrick Mahomes in his prime. Yep. But when you're on so if you look at the defense side, they're paying Nick Bolton. They're paying Chris Jones. They're going to have to pay one of their safeties eventually because they got to have a veteran back there.
George Karlaftis most likely.
They're going to have to probably pay George Karlaftis unless Gelati becomes an absolute stud and incentivizes it for them to move off George. My point though is the money you got to open it up somewhere, guys. And I've been trying to paint this picture for you guys now for well over a year. That this is the reality of the situation of a capped league. If the Chiefs didn't have a cap, if this was baseball, man, pay Trent McDuffie whatever. And just keep him here. I'm good with that. Pay the man $150 million over the next 5 years. I don't give a shit because there's no cap. But when you're in a cap league, you have to be a little bit more frugal. You have to be cheap. You have to sometimes be a little cheap. And unfortunately, that is the reality of where the Chiefs are at with Trent McDuffie. If you get 5 years out of him, that's awesome. You got his best 5 years, because I'm willing to bet the 5 years after that are not going to be better than these ones.
Yeah.
He's at his absolute peak right now. So the Chiefs are getting those best 5 years, and you're not paying him 24, 25 million a year. You're paying him 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I think it's such a great idea. I know it's unpopular because we love him. I love him. But it's not fiscally responsible to pay him long-term money like that when you know that the Chiefs have succeeded the way they have without great cornerback play, expensive cornerbacks, and they have to, like I say, be cheap somewhere. So if they're not going to be cheap at Trent McDuffie, you're going to have to tell me where they're going to be cheap at, because I don't know where it's at, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's probably going to get traded at some point. Micah Hayes, follow-up question. Any truth to the rumors that Rice was not the driver in the accident? If so, what does that change?
That is the rumor that's going on around. I think that's the biggest hang-up with the whole investigation.
It would make sense why it's been taking forever.
Yes, and that is why I told you guys on last week's show that I am really starting to lean on the side that I don't think Rashi is going to get suspended this year. And that might change. We, like I said, with information, we change with it. You know what I mean? That's how this goes. That's something I actually did learn from Colin Cowherd. It's one of my favorite things he ever said is, you know, everybody tries to get you on the gotcha stuff. He goes, well, I base my opinion on where the information is currently at. I have the right to change my opinion when the information changes. That is where we're at right now with Rashi, is it is sounding like there is a possibility that the car he was driving, though both cars are under his name, which he is ultimately liable for from the insurance side, from the, you know, all the proceedings on that side. But when it comes to the responsibility of who caused the actual accident, that is up for debate right now. I don't know how valid it is, but I have heard that from multiple people that I do know that know the situation pretty damn well. And if that is the case, we find out that Rashi didn't actually create or cause the actual accident, I do believe there's a chance that maybe he doesn't even get suspended at all. And I mean, even in 2026. I'm still banking on the thought that he's at some point going to probably suffer some suspension, because it is contact detrimental to the league. That is where I'm still hanging on. But the league has been very quiet about it. You notice that, guys. They're not talking about this at all, because they're not going to try to take that Band-Aid off the wound for no reason. They're going to let this thing kind of play out over there in the corner while they focus on their league and having the league look so great and marketable and things of that nature. They don't want this to be a cog in the wheel, if you know what I mean, or a wrench in the process. So, yeah, I do think right now, though, guys, that Rashi's going to play all games, barring injury, in the 2025 season. Just make sure Patrick doesn't fall on his knees anywhere.
Yes, please. Julia Gulia, if Minshew has a great preseason and somebody offers picks, do you take it with Zappy as your QB2?
Yes. Yes. If you can get picks out of your backup quarterback, yes. Unless your quarterback isn't good enough and you're not confident he can play a whole 17-game schedule, then yes. If the Chiefs could get like a 5th-round pick out of Minshew, yes. God, yes. You guys know I love draft picks. And I'm big. I love this Gardner Minshew signing. I think it's awesome. Yeah. And I don't think there's any real chance that's going to happen. But if let's say a team out there, their quarterback blows his knee out at training camp or something horrible happens. Hope that doesn't happen. But let's say it does. Minshew's going to be one of those guys on that short list.
This was the same conversation as with Carson Wentz last year.
Yes, of course. And we said the same thing. We would make that trade 100%. Yes. Yeah. If somebody wanted Carson Wentz, they're willing to give up like a conditional 4th. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah. You get any pick above a 6th-round pick for a Gardner Minshew, you take it. So, yes, I'm all on board with that. And it doesn't even matter who the Chiefs replace him with. I think that, like I said, you're confident that Patrick's going to be able to withstand the rigors of the season, and you can go and get a backup and learn the system and be just capable. As long as that backup can just be capable. Because let's be real, guys. Chad Henne didn't make, like, astounding plays when he was here. He made that one run, which was awesome. Yep. But outside of that, Chad just basically just manned the ship. You know, just let everything kind of play its role and hand it off to Checo, a little dump off to Travis Kelce, a little dump off to Tyreek Hill. You know, like those are the things he did. As long as you're just capable, that's all they ask you. Gardner's a borderline starter in this league. So them getting him is a massive plus.
He's like Baker Mayfield light.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have that on your team, that's always a great thing. But again, if the Panthers or the freaking Bucks, ironically, let's say a team like that loses their starting quarterback for the year or for 10 weeks,
yep,
Minshew's going to be one of the first guys they're calling for. And so I like that for the Chiefs on the leverage side of things.
Yep, for sure. Micah Hayes, Why no all red uniforms games last year? Should the team advertise and have an all red night like teams do with whiteout games?
Wait, I could have swore they had at least one against the
I don't know
Buccaneers.
if we had a color rush red though.
Or I thought for some reason against the Bucks they did.
Maybe we did. I don't honestly. I don't remember off the top of my head if we did. That's my favorite color rush.
God damn it, John, where are you at?
Is the all red? That was my
what?
That's my jam,
bro. I really could have swore they had because remember they had like the all red out night where there was like red lights and like I thought that was the Bucks game. It was like raining real bad.
I honestly don't remember. I'm 36 years old.
Trevor's going with the age thing.
I mean, yeah.
Dude, I could have swore. Maybe somebody in the chat help us with this because I was almost 100%. I thought I had a picture or two of Kareem Hunt because he had a monster game that night.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I know. I think 2 seasons ago, or yeah, I know the season before last we did a red game, but I don't know if we did a color rush red this past season.
I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong. Yeah, maybe you're right about the no. That makes no sense. Then I don't know why they didn't have red on reds because red on reds is awesome.
Yeah, that's my favorite. A lot of people don't like it. I feel like a lot of people
Shane hates it.
I know. Yeah.
Shaggy Shane hates the red on reds.
Man, he likes the whites.
I do too. That's so clean. That's so clean.
They're both fresh, bro.
Yeah,
they both look dope. But red's my favorite.
The aesthetics. This is my just a little side thing here. The aesthetics of the Chiefs playing a primetime game at SoFi in the all whites is so beautiful because that field is so nice and crisp, and that white just bounces off it perfectly, dude. There's something
like
aesthetically
all
pleasing,
whites for
and they
a
always
lot
win.
of different teams, like the all whites for the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are
sick, dude.
too. The Saints too. The Saints whites look sick too. With the white
I definitely agree.
Yeah, bro. So I get it. Yeah, the color rushes are fun. I just love the all.
They got to do it this year,
bro. I love the yeah.
If they didn't do it this year, then or they didn't do it last season, then yeah.
Yeah.
They got to do it.
But yeah, I'm with you, Micah. I think we need to re-up that this year. James C. Kirk, Dome Stadium, yes or no? That would be a good poll question. I vote no.
Well, then I'm going to ask a poll question. Why?
Yeah.
Dude, you understand the benefits.
Doesn't love Dome, man.
There are so many benefits of having a Dome Stadium. I know the purists are going to say, well, you're losing the climate. The climate has got to play a part of the game. No, it doesn't. In fact, football is better when the climate doesn't play a factor. Do you know why? Because everybody gets to play at the top of their game because they're not around slight. And yes, it's fun because it brings us back to our childhood of playing out in the rain and the snow and stuff like that. But guys, these are professional football players, professional games. You want it to be an even match. And some teams play in warmer weather areas. And when they come to Kansas City, that is such a disadvantage. Now, I know we're sitting here going, well, who gives a shit? It's us. Yes, but that could easily be us. We could easily be Dolphins fans. We could easily be a team that plays on the West Coast. I think every stadium in the NFL should have at least a retractable roof. So that way, when the rain hits or the snow hits or whatever's hitting, you don't have to worry about it. When we're talking about when there's storms, I've been to several Arrowhead games early in the season where there's a lightning storm, and the game gets delayed for half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, like against the Bills when they clapped our cheeks a few years ago here in Arrowhead. That sucked. That game was late as shit. That wasn't fun. But guess what would happen if the Chiefs had a dome? The game would have kept going. Because it's indoor and no one gives a shit. That is what you want. Also, it keeps your players healthy. It keeps your players playing longer. That is why it's so impressive what Brett Favre and guys like Tom Brady did. Because they played outdoor stadiums the majority of their careers. But guys like Peyton Manning, the reason they're playing so long, and Drew Brees and Matt Ryan and guys like that were able to play so long is because they played in dome stadiums. It is easier to play the game at a higher level in dome or retractable roof stadiums, guys. And the business side of it, it's so clear and obvious that the Chiefs got to do this because they have big-time country events and performing acts at Arrowhead during the summer seasons. You know when they do that? Only in the summer seasons. You know why? Because that's the only time they have availabilities at Arrowhead because it's usually cold as shit for like 6 months out here. You have a dome stadium, guess what you got to do? You get to have those shows all year round. You get to have Taylor Swift and Garth Brooks and whatever freaking pop country guys are out there nowadays. You get to have those all year round. That's business. That's revenue. That's things that stream into the owner's pockets, the city's pockets. That's good for everything. So that is why I am so confident the Chiefs are going to have a dome. I'm so confident that's going to happen because Clark Hunt is a money-making man. And he knows that he has the ticket right now to sell that to the fan base, to sell that to the cities. And he has the opportunity on the Kansas side to do it for basically nothing out of his pocket. It's common sense, guys. So, yes, I would love to hear James' reason why no, other than some purist reason. No offense to my brother. You know I love you, James. But outside of that, there is no legitimate reason to not have a retractable roof, to not have a dome stadium when you look at all the benefits that come with those.
Yeah, and a little side tangent for me too about it. Like, I know a lot of people think it's some advantage. If you're banking, if you're a player and you're banking on the advantage of having weather on your side, then you're not as good as you think you are.
Boom.
Because you're playing on any kind of terrain, any kind of indoor whatever. You should have the mindset you're gonna win no matter what because you're just outright better.
Yeah.
So stop trying. I hate this take that. Oh, well, it gives us the advantage because we're used to playing it. You should be able to beat any team on any kind of terrain, bro. If you think you're the best, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. This is what we do. Dome, rain, shine, snow, it doesn't matter. We're going to beat whoever we're playing no matter what because we're the Chiefs. And we're not going to use anything as an excuse or an advantage.
Right.
So stop it. Dome for sure. Let's go on the Kansas side. John Harrison. This was less of a question more than it was a quote, but I just wanted to give him his moment here. Back to your Hicks point. Getting Hicks last year was similar to getting Bossa this year. Didn't think they dropped a linebacker, but his talent fell to the 5th round. Grab him.
Yeah,
so that was a good point.
Mike Williams from All Chief Dub said that very same thing last week.
Yeah.
He talked about how Bossa was that one pick of the Chiefs, draft that no one's really talking about, but could be a guy that plays a real role in this defense almost instantly. And look, I didn't follow Bossa's career very closely. Obviously, Oregon's a big brand, so we saw their games here and there, and I did see the athleticism on his side of things.
Yeah.
Will it translate? That's going to be up for debate. He did fall to the 5th round, but we've seen it before. We'll see it again. Guys that, for whatever reason, slip through the cracks and become something in this league. And if Bossa's that legit linebacker that can maybe replace a Tranquil, or if they don't want to pay Leo Chenal, maybe he's that guy. Like, there are things that he's going to have to show us this year before they make decisions like that. So I'm leaving that to the trust of the people that know this game better than I do. And I think Mike Williams is a guy that I very much trust his thought process, his evaluation process. He's very big on him. There's been several other guys like Jay Binkley, a guy we trust vehemently here, one of the most knowledgeable football guys I know. Big fan of Bossa. He thinks he's going to be a stud. So it's looking good. I'm just going to let him show me something first, and then I'll give you guys a real authentic opinion on him. I've already seen Jaden Hicks.
Yeah.
That's why I'm very confident in what I think he's going to become, because I see the uptick. I see the gradual progression, and I think that is what we're going to, see from Jaden Hicks in year 2. So I'm all ears, dude. I'm all eyes for what Bossa can become.
Absolutely. Julia Gulia. So apparently Mahomes is the 4th best QB. What are we going to do?
Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, that is it for the questions, man. I appreciate you guys, man.
You know what? Since that's the last question, Julie, I'll say this. I think there are two things going on simultaneously now in the media circuit when it comes to things like that. I think that we have the people that are doing the obvious shtick to get reaction. There are people like that, definitely. And then there are people out there that are just fucking stupid. I'll let you decide in a minute which one the people that are making those rankings are. But we will get to that in just a minute. That's the end of the question you said, though, Trevor?
That was the last one, yep.
Great stuff, guys. That was a good speak it. Like I said, we do this every single week. So if you want to join in, if you guys want to join in the festivities and have a good conversation with us and ask us questions, we recommend that you go to our YouTube channel, hit the Spoken Podcast, the subscribe, notification, like, share, all those buttons. Thank you very much in advance. But most importantly, and more importantly, we want you to get in the comments. That is when you become a real member of this community. We love it when you guys chime in. We love it when you guys have questions. We love it when you guys have anything to bring forward to us. Because like I said, Trevor and I are not talking at you. We are talking with you. That is what this show is all about, and it's going to continue to be all about. Trevor Tool, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called? Hold this L. Each every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding those L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Tubal, who's holding up for you this week?
All right, so if anybody, all my Hoops fans that have been paying attention to the playoffs, let alone the finals that have been pretty entertaining so far, actually really entertaining so far, The two teams, one of them a little unlikely with the Pacers being there, but they've well deserved and have earned every single game that they've won in this postseason and the finals so far. It's been a very fun finals, I will say, as a fan of the hoops myself. I've been watching these games and I've been betting on these games. I haven't won shit yet, but it's been fun to watch and entertain the game with my bets. But I have been watching the games, and that's, more said for me than some others, especially some that are paid millions upon millions, tens upon tens of millions to dissect and regurgitate what they think about the games. Let alone, a finals game 4 where game 4 is the game, especially when a team is up 2-1, could possibly go up 3-1, or a team that is the favorite to win the finals could tie up the series and change the whole trajectory of the series by tying it up and not letting it go to 3-1 when that 3-1 is the death nail for all but one team in NBA history. Stephen A. Smith obviously is the highest paid analyst to talk such things and to be at all these games and to watch these games in person and give you his thoughts on what is taking place and took place on said game that he had just consumed with his eyeballs. Well, unfortunately, he wasn't consuming this game with his eyeballs very close because it's been obviously reported out here by Barstool, and everybody has been, flaming this man on social media, rightfully so, because during pivotal moments of the game, his eyeballs were not focused on the game. His eyeballs were focused on a very intense game of solitaire on his phone. While important crunch time moments were happening in the game, several fans from behind him were taking pictures of him not paying attention to the game, head down into his phone playing a game of solitaire while the finals, game 4, was taking place. Listen, do you, bro. Like, I don't care. I don't really care that this happened, but the only reason I do bring this up is because this is someone who's paid to give and critique the game that he had just witnessed.
And he lied about it.
Yes.
He said he was doing it during a timeout.
So, yeah, and there's literally videos of the game going on, and he's playing solitaire. You know what I mean? So, it's just... Solitaire is not a game you just take breaks on. You just revisit. It's a game you're live.
Focus,
It's live.
Yeah.
You're playing. He's most likely playing for money. I highly doubt he's just playing for free, right? So he's gambling on his phone for money, playing solitaire, poker, and all these. I know people that do it all the time. Whatever. Just own up to it, though. You know what I mean? And let alone just the bad look that it's Stephen A. Smith. It's not some
schmuck out there. Yeah.
Some guy from Deportes. No offense to anybody out there, but like, you know what I mean? Like, this is Stephen A. Smith, dude. This is like the guy. And, yeah, I mean, it's just, this to me is why I don't put too much weight into what these people say. Right. They're that, this was another example of that friend that you have over watching the fights or watching the games that's not even watching it. And it will just kind of go with the flow of what everyone else is talking about. It doesn't have an actual take for themselves because they don't have one authentically. Not saying that that's what Stephen A. Smith always does, but in this moment, it looks pretty bad.
Yes.
Right, and the fact that he's not just at home watching this, he's at the games. This is at the finals, not locked in, not ready to sit on that table with his other teammates to talk about the game and give an authentic take. This was the third quarter, I believe, when this was happening. So it's just a bad look, man. And Stephen A. Smith, just do me a solid favor here and hold this L.
Imagine these ESPN execs, if they asked them if they like that, that'd be interesting. Huh?
I'm just saying, man, like, just have some integrity, and getting caught like that is just,
it's bad, man.
This is your job. If this was just, it wouldn't matter if it was anybody else, but it's Stephen A. Smith, and the guy that wants to be Mr. Right all the time. And it's like, bro, you're playing solitaire where the finals are happening, game 4. Like, be better.
So we know that baseball, MLB season's in full tilt. I love baseball because the game itself is so beautiful, and I'm not trying to sound overly poetic here, but I'm being serious. I genuinely love the game of baseball. And the best part of that game in particular is because you play such a long season that the players around you and the coaches and everything, that becomes your family. And you do shit that you only do with your family. And I'm not going to lie, guys, this video of Justin Turner is one of the funniest things I have ever seen. And the fact that the broadcast put it on and then you hear the just awkward silence afterwards. I don't want to illustrate it too much because you guys are about to watch this yourselves, but please pay attention to the bottom of Justin Turner's shirt, if you will, when they do the dance and he's at the bottom of the steps. And I promise that you're going to laugh your fucking ass off. Go ahead, Drew, play that beautiful.
Our fan of the game brought to you by Mike's Hard Lemonade for the love of lemonade. And it's you, Justin Turner. You are our fan of the game. Woo! That's the first. Now, Ryan.
Oh, my God. Dude, I've watched that like 23 times, and I've died every single time. That is the funniest shit.
Just dudes being bros, bro.
I swear,
Dudes being bros.
like, even when I see those things on the back of trucks, I die. I'm a child. I'm sorry, guys. But that is just so
Farts
freaking
and balls
hilarious.
are always funny, man. Come on.
Like, Justin Turner, I'm pretty sure he's older than me. And he's still in the league, still a guy. And this is probably the reason why he's still in the league, because I know his skills have diminished vehemently. But, like, this is what keeps teams locked in, dude, is having fun. Like, seriously, dude. And when you have long, boring-ass seasons like baseball players do, you got to keep it going, man. And I wanted to give a W to Justin Turner and that Cubbies team, man, because they're on the rise, too. That team's on the rise. They got a lot of promise. And I just had
this is kind of it's not all the way unique to baseball, but it's pretty unique to baseball. This kind of like dugout activities are very special and unique to baseball.
It's hard to pull this. You would never be able to pull this off in the NBA because they'd be like, oh, you're getting fined.
Right.
And,
well, maybe LeBron was drinking wine, a glass of wine, and everyone was freaking out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Jesus Christ.
So funny. I had to put that out there and give a dub to my guy
hilarious,
Justin Turner. So fucking funny. A guy that I'm laughing at for other reasons, though, is Chris Sims. So I teased it a little bit when Julia Gulli asked the question directly, and I wanted to pay respect to Julia in her question, and this is the reason why I kind of wanted to tease it into this segment, though, because, like I said, I think there are, in this current media landscape, there are two different types of, I don't want to say everybody's in these, they're not everybody's in these camps, but there are two, like, the people you roll your eyes at. It's either the ones that are just simply just trying to get your reaction. We know the Skip Baylesses of this world. Everybody's trying to be him now. A lot of people are just trying to get reaction out of you, to pay attention to them. They have no shame. They have no pride. They just want to get paid and just get you to pay attention to what they have to say, even though they don't believe it themselves. And then there are people that are just genuinely stupid, that just genuinely don't understand and don't grasp what they're actually saying. And I actually think that is where Chris Sims is starting to fall. I used to think he was just trying to get attention from people, and then I saw him trying to run an offense in practice when John Gruden was his coach, and I'm pretty convinced now this kid's made it simply because his dad was Phil. And look, Chris has made it to this point also because he's been best friends with Kyle Shanahan, so he has connections. His father, like I said, was a legacy quarterback, successful quarterback, and now he's on this show with the biggest jackass of it all, Mike Florio, Eddie Munster himself. He put this out there this week. We go ahead and put it on the screen, Trevor, because people are already aware of it, but we have to talk about it. This is via First Things First, a show that I actually do recommend with honest, real insight on sports. According to Chris Sims, here are the top 5 quarterbacks of 2025 in actual order: Lamar Jackson, Joshua Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, and then Jaden Daniels. Let me be very brief with this and say that this 5 is actually a good 5. It's a 5 that I could actually agree with. I actually don't think Jaden Daniels is a top 5 quarterback yet, but he is a top 10 quarterback. I still would have Matt Stafford in my top 5. But first of all, and this is what pisses me off about this take, is the fact that Chris doesn't actually give us the reasons behind it. He just puts out a list. I'm somebody that if you give us a take, if you give us something like this that is bold, I can live with that as long as you give me your reasoning. He gave us no reasoning. He just put this out there. And I know Chris to be somebody that looks at the playoffs and considers greatness based on what you do in big moments, which is what makes this so goddamn ironic. Because, and we can put that next slide up there, Trevor. This is our guy, Nick Wright, again, from First Things First. This is Patrick Mahomes versus these three guys in the last 3 AFC Championship games. Their averages combined versus his averages by himself. Would you look at it?
It's crazy.
It's wild how the guy that's behind all three of those guys is better than all three of those guys in the biggest game that they can face each other in. Weird. It's also weird that the guy on the left has a ring for each one of these guys to hand out to him. And none of them can do the same to him. I thought that's what... Maybe I'm tripping here, Trevor. I was always taught and told that Tom Brady's the greatest ever because he won all the Super Bowls. And he was, beating all these guys in the playoffs when it mattered the most. But now that it's Patrick Mahomes doing that, it doesn't fucking matter. And being a choke artist, being an underwhelming playoff performer, now gets you above Patrick Mahomes. I would have a hard time imagining, Trevor, that if these three guys were playing against Tom Brady in his prime, and he was still winning the way he was, I highly doubt Chris Jones or Chris Sims would have these guys above Tom Brady. Maybe I'm crazy. But I don't think I am, Trevor. This is absolute stupidity.
It's insane.
This is absurdity. And when you are stupid and when you're absurd, you get L's. So here at the Spoken Podcast, Mr. Chris Sims, do me a really motherfucking solid and
hold
this
this
fucking
hell.
L. Thank you very much.
Motherfucking hell.
Jesus Christ. You know what? It honestly does pump me up, though, at the same time.
I love this shit.
I love
You know me, dude.
Yeah,
this
because
is just ammo, baby.
Patrick finally has the offense he's supposed to be having all along this season. 2023, you guys know, I warned you. That offense was ass. And that offense ended up being ass. 2024 looked like it was going to be all right. You know what I mean? They had Rashee Rice in year 2. Xavier Worthy's coming in. We'll see if he's any good. Travis Kelce's still a really effective player. Maybe the run game will be all right. And then everyone start getting fucking hurt. This year is the year that Patrick Mahomes Ryan's motherfuckers. And I would have thought, him going to the Super Bowl, despite those facts I just listed off both years, that would be enough. But I guess it's not. I guess he's going to have to go up there with a loaded offense. And then when he does that, then it's, well, he had a loaded offense. The goalposts are going to continue to move, but I'm enjoying every second of it. Because while the goalposts move, the championships stack. And Patrick Mahomes is going to continue to stack championships as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, as the leader of the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm here for all of it. And I know you guys are here as well, and we appreciate every single one of you guys. So for the Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Windler, puts all this together on the back end of things at Red Tribe Cinema, for the entire Starcade Media family, I am Lance Twidwell. We can play it one more time, Trevor. Episode 316.
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we are back here 1 week's time for episode 317. We out of this bitch.
Later.